Good morning. So, as part of our syllabus, in previous class, we have discussed about some regional organizations. In that uh, regional organizations, we have discussed about SARC, South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. So, in the continuation of that syllabus, uh, we will conclude that SARC in today's class and go for another regional organizations, that is like ASEAN, European Union, and other regional organization. So if you see, as we discussed, this SARC is established for the purpose of regional cooperation within the its region. So some failures also there for this SARC organization. If you see the significance of this SARC organization as the largest regional cooperation in this organization, and the SARC's importance is stabilizing for effectively transforming the region is becoming increasingly self-evident, and also there is no alternative capable for this to bringing together South Asian countries for mutually beneficial diplomacy has emerged. So, in this overall 36 years of existence, SARC has developed a dense network of institutions, linkages, and mechanisms. As we discussed, SARC established in 1985. So, from that time onwards, it made some progress in developing common cause in several fields like agriculture, education, health, climate change, etc. From 2010, as we discussed, South Asian University also established for the purpose of this to educate about this regional cooperation began in New Delhi, and the SARC has made significant contributions to the development of civil society and track to initiatives. Though SARC's charter prohibits bilateral issues at formal forums, SARC summits provide a unique informal window. If you see, there are many issues around this organization for leaders meet without aids and chart future courses of action. So the coming together of leaders of this regional organization, even the height of tensions in the region laden with cognitive suspicions and misunderstandings and hostility is a significant strength of that SARC cannot be overlooked. So SARC members are among the top troop contributing countries to United Nations peacekeeping missions, with the United States withdrawal from Afghanistan. A giant peacekeeping force from the SARC region under the UN aegis could be explored to fill the power vacuum that would otherwise be filled by terrorist and extremist forces. Even in recent times, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi seized COVID-19 crisis and utilized SARC's seal to convene a video conference of SARC leaders. They underscored the need for cooperation on a regional basis for fighting the pandemic. So, if you see some failures also there, numerous agreements have been signed and institutional mechanisms established under SARC, but they have not been adequately implemented. So SARC agreed in several issues like South Asian Free Trade Area in 2004 at the SARC summit in Kathmandu. So each country shall record their productions and national treatment of the products of other countries. So it was agreed the customs duties on all goods traded would be reduced to zero by 2016. So okay. Uh, so SARC is needed to allow for the diplomacy and coordination that is needed between member states in order to adequately address the numerous threats and challenges in the region faces. So, in if the geo political dynamics following World War II could allow die-hard enemies, France and Germany, to interface effectively enough to create the European Union, so there is no reason why India and Pakistan cannot come together to solve the problems. So SARC has the capacity to bring nations together. As Nelson Mandela said, if you want to make peace with your enemy, you have to work with your enemy. So then he becomes your partner. So even China has recently launching uh, uh, South Asia Emergency Supplies Reserve. So this emergency reserve aims to devise a common strategy for combating COVID-19 pandemic through vaccine development and distribution, and to create an emergency reserve. So even Poverty Elevation and Cooperation Development Center also established, and it aims to pool strength and integrate resources to assist South Asian countries economic development, livelihood improvement, and poverty reduction. So this is all about SARC. So majorly, so uh, as we conclude this SARC as an organization reflects the South Asian identity of the countries historically and contemporarily. So this is a naturally made geographical identity. Equally, there is a cultural, linguistic, religious, and culinary affinity that defines South Asia. So the potential of organization to maintain peace and stability in the region should be explored by all the member nations. So SARC should be allowed to progress naturally, and the people of South Asia, who make up the a quarter of the world's population, should be offered more people to people contact. So very challenges also there for this organization to solve, especially Indo-Pak relations. Escalated tension and conflict between India and Pakistan have severely uh, hampered the prospects of SARC. And also, broad area of cooperation leads to diversion of energy and resources also. So more engagement is required by the member states, and instead of meeting, uh, should be held annually. So this is all about SARC. So we have another regional organization is ASEAN. So if you see the history of ASEAN means association, uh, especially it's also Southeast Asian nations. So if you see the full form of this ASEAN, Association of Southeast Asian Nations. So it's an organization founded by the governments of Malaysia, Indonesia, the Philippines, Thailand, and Singapore, which is established in 1967 to promote economic growth, peace, security, and social progress and cultural development in the Southeast Asian region. So, so it is established in Bangkok, Thailand, with the signing of the Bangkok Declaration by the founding fathers of the countries of Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Singapore, and the Philippines. So the preceding organization was the Association of Southeast Asia, comprising of Thailand, Philippines, and Malaysia. So five other nations have joined in ASEAN in subsequent years, making the current membership to 10 countries. At present, there are 10 countries in this ASEAN organization. In SARC, there are 8 members. So the last 5 countries are Brunei, Vietnam, Laos, Myanmar, and Cambodia. So there are 2 observer states, namely Papua New Guinea and Timor Leste, so East Timor. So if you see the purpose of this ASEAN organization, it is established to promote political and social stability aimed raising tensions amongst the Asia Pacific post-colonial states. So the motto of ASEAN is one vision, one identity, and one community. I'm repeating again. The motto of ASEAN is one vision, one identity, one community. So 8th August is observed as ASEAN Day. So ASEAN Secretariat is located in Jakarta, Indonesia. So if you see the purpose of this ASEAN, it is accelerating economic growth, cultural development, and social progress in the region by joint initiatives in the spirit of partnership and equality to cement the foundation for peaceful and strong community of Southeast Asian countries. So, if we see the motto or primary goals of these regional organizations, almost same motive. So, promoting peace and stability in the region by incorporating respect of justice and rule of law in the relationships between nations and adherence to the United Nations principles. So, every regional organizations also have to must follow the ideal principles of United Nations organization. So, about especially promoting peace and security in the countries. So even promoting active collaboration and mutual assistance in subjects of common interest in social, economic, cultural, administrative, scientific, and technical domains. So, and also it is assisting member countries via training and research facilities in the educational, administrative, technical, and professional domains. And also, it is cooperating for better usage of agriculture and industries, even trade expansion, including studying the problem of international commodity trade. And also, it is improving communication and transportation facilities and improving living standards among the people. So, and also, like SARC, SARC ASEAN also promoting Southeast Asian studies. So for SARC, it is established a separate university named South Asian University. It is also exploring more avenues for further cooperation among themselves and maintaining close and advantageous cooperation with other international groupings of similar objectives. If we see the ASEAN's fundamental principles are: one is mutual respect for the independence, sovereignty, equality, territorial integrity, and national identity of all nations in the organization. And also the right of every state to lead its national existence free from external interference, subversion, or coercion. If we see, as per the United Nations Charter, uh, every regional organization must follow the ideal principles, because every individual country is self-sufficient and it has its own sovereignty and its own integrity. So no one country should not enter into other countries' uh, internal matters, including defense or other issues, even political or economic issues. So no one is uh, uh, no right to interfere into their matters. So no interference in the internal affairs of one another is one of the major fundamental principles of every regional organization. So settlement of differences or disputes by peaceful manner. So as per the United Nations Charter, every nation must follow to protect and promote peace and security. So if they are facing any conflicts between any nations or two or more nations, they have to come together and discuss to resolve that disputes in peaceful manner. So there is no need for direct attacks or anything for in violent method. So settlement of differences or conflicts by only in peaceful ways. So and also effective cooperation among themselves is one of the fundamental principles. If we see, the ASEAN's headquarters is located or headquartered in Jakarta, Indonesia. These official languages of this organization is Burmese, Filipino, Indonesia, and Lao, Malay, Mandarin, Tamil, Chai, and Vietnamese. So working language is only English. If you see, these this institutional mechanism of ASEAN is its chairmanship of ASEAN rotates annually. So based on the alphabetical order of the English names of member states, and the supreme policy making body of ASEAN is ASEAN Summit. So as the highest level of authority in ASEAN, the summit sets the direction for Asian policies and objectives. Under the charter, the summit meets twice a year. So Asian ministerial councils are there. So the charter established four important new ministerial bodies to support the summit. One is Asian Coordinating Council. Second one is Asian Political Security Community Council. And third one is Asian Economic Community Council. And the fourth one is Asian Socio-Cultural Community Council. So the primary mode of decision making in ASEAN is consultation and consensus. So, however, the charter enshrines the principles of ASEAN 10. So this means that if all member states are in agreement, a formula for flexible participation may be used so that the members who are ready may go ahead, while members who need more time for implementation may apply a flexible timeline. So there are several forums also there for implementation of these Asian principles. Asian Regional Forum is there, Asian Plus 3, and East Asia Summit, Asian Defense Ministers Meeting plus meeting. There are several platforms are there for Asian and its dialogue partners to strengthen security and defense cooperation for peace, stability, and development in the region. If you see the what are the strengths for this Asian organization, Asian commands for greater influence on Asia Pacific trade, political, the security issues than its members could achieve individually. So if you see the demographic dividend, as of 1st July of 2019, the population of ASEAN was about 655 million people. If we compare to the world's population, this is almost 8.5 of the world's population. So major global manufacturing and trade, as well as one of the fastest growing consumer markets in the world, consists of these Asian member states. So if you see the seventh largest economy in the world, it is projected to rank as the fourth largest economy by 2050. So ASEAN has the third largest labor force in the world behind China and India. So Asia is the fourth largest exporting region in the world, trailing only the European Union, North America, and China, Hong Kong accounting for 7% of global exports. And also, ASEAN has contributed to regional stability by building much needed norms and fostering a neutral environment to address shared challenges. If we see what are the challenges are there before this Asian organization, majorly regional imbalances in the economic and social status of its individual markets is one of the major challenge, and also the gap between rich and poor Asian member states remains very large, and they have a mixed record on income inequality. While Singapore boasts the highest GDP per capita, and Cambodia's per capita GDP is the lowest. So many regional initiatives were not able to be incorporated into national plans as the less developed countries faced resource constraints to implement the regional commitments. The members of political systems are equally mixed with democracies, communist, and authoritarian states. While the South China Sea is the main issue exposing the organization's rifts. So ASEAN has been divided over major issues of human rights. For example, crackdowns in Myanmar against the Rohingyas. It is one of the best example for this major issue of human rights in the Asian region. So inability to negotiate a unified approach with regards to China, particularly in response to its widespread maritime claims in the South China Sea. So the emphasis on unified approach and consensus sometimes becomes the chief drawback. If you see, difficult problems have been avoided rather than confronted. There is no central mechanism to enforce compliance. So, ineffective and inefficient dispute settlement mechanism, and whether it be in the economic or political spheres. So, if you see, what about the cooperation between India and ASEAN? So, if you see, the India's relationship with ASEAN is a key pillar of the foreign policy and foundation of Act East policy. So, India has a separate mission to ASEAN and the East Asian states. India and ASEAN already has 25 years of dialogue partnership and 15 years of summit level interaction and 5 years of strategic partnership with ASEAN. So if you see the economic cooperation between India and ASEAN, ASEAN is India's fourth largest trading partner. If you see India's trade with ASEAN at approximately 10.6% of India's overall trade is only with Asian countries. So India's export to ASEAN stands at 11.28% of our total exports. So the ASEAN India Free Trade Area has been completed, and ASEAN India Business Council was set up in the 2003 to bring key private sector players from India and the Asian countries on a single platform. And also there is social cultural cooperation programs to boost people to people interaction with Asian, such as inviting Asian students to India, special training course for Asian diplomats, exchange of parliamentarians, etc. And also financial assistance has been provided to Asian countries from the Asian Indian Cooperation Fund and Asian Indian Science and Technology Development Fund and Asian India Green Fund. So, and also to identify cooperation in the maritime domain as the key area of cooperation under the Asian India Strategic Partnership. If you see the Delhi dialogue, which is a annual track of 1.5 event for discussing political, security and economic issues between ASEAN and India. So if you see the significance of ASEAN for India, India needs a close diplomatic relationship with Asian nations, both for economic and security reasons. And also the connectivity with the Asian nations can allow India to improve its presence in the region. And these connectivity projects keep Northeast India in the center, ensuring the economic growth of the Northeastern states. And also improved trade ties with Asian nations would mean a counter to China's presence in the region and economic growth and development for India. And also, this Asian organization occupies a centralized position in the rules-based security architecture in the Indo-Pacific, which is vital for India since most of its trade is dependent on maritime security. So collaboration with the Asian countries is necessary to counter insurgency in the Northeast, combat terrorism, tax evasions, etc. So if we continue with ASEAN relations. So the mutual benefits will be there for both Asian member states and India. So majorly to maintain close and beneficial cooperation with existing international and regional organizations is major objective for this establishment of these kind of regional organizations. So so this is all about Association of Southeast Asian nations, that is ASEAN. We have one more regional organization is there. Uh, it is namely European Union. So it is also an international organization consisting of European countries, which was formed in 1993. It came into force after the signing of the Maastricht Treaty by 28 countries. So, 19 of these countries, if you see the emergence of this European Union, so it came into effect after 28 countries signed the Maastricht Treaty. So the Treaty of Maastricht, also known as Treaty of European Union. So it was amended three times in 1997 at Amsterdam Treaty, 2001 Nice Treaty, 2007 Lisbon Treaty. There are 24 official languages of European Union, and also the treaty also important for this establishment. So if you see the major objectives of the European Union, European Union has developed an internal single market through a standardized system of laws that apply in all member states in matters where members have agreed to act as one. So if you see the in this organization, most of the countries, which means 19 of these countries use euro as their official currency, and 8 euro EU members do not use the euro. So most of the nations use this common currency to easy to accelerate their transactions between the nations. And also the European Union grew out of a desire to form single European political entity to end centuries of warfare among European countries that culminated with the World War II and decimated much of the continent. So, if you see the major objectives of this European Union, it is especially established as like other regional organizations for the primary objective of promoting peace, values, and the well-being of all citizens of the European Union is the primary objective, and also it offers freedom, security, and justice without any internal borders, and sustainable development based on balanced economic growth and price stability and highly competitive market economy with full employment and social progress and environmental protection. And also it has combat social exclusion and discrimination. Uh, it promotes scientific and technological progress, and it enhances economic and socio territorial cohesion and solidarity among European Union countries, and respect its rich cultural and linguistic diversity, and it is establishes an economic and monetary union whose currency is euro. If you see what are the factors lead to the formation of the European Union after the World War II, the European integration was seen as cure to the excessive nationalism which had devastated the continent. In 1946, the University of Zurich, Switzerland, Winston Churchill went further and advocated the emergence of United States of Europe. So It is the historical background. Later, many treaties and agreements happened, um, from the time to 1946 to later in 1952. European Coal and Steel Community was founded under Treaty of Paris in 1951, and European Atomic Energy Community. It is an international organization established by the Euratom Treaty in 1957, and the European Economic Community was created by the Treaty of Rome in 1957. Uh, it, so many treaties happened to establish a single organization that is also called as European Union. So was signed on 7th February 1992 by the members of European Community in Maastricht, the city in Netherlands, to further European integration. So it is received a great push with the end of the Cold War. So European communities incorporated as European Union. European Union was created with a European citizenship, allowing citizens to reside in and move freely between member states. So a common foreign and security policy was established by this European Union, and closer cooperation between police and the judiciary in criminal matters was agreed with member states, and it paved the way of the creation of a single European currency, that is the euro. It was the culmination of several decades of debate on increasing economic cooperation in Europe. And also it is established the European Central Bank, and it enabled people to run for local office and the European Parliament elections in the European Union country they lived in. And also a monetary union was established in 1999 and came into full force in 2002, and is composed of 19 European Union member states which use the euro as a single currency in 19 countries. If you see, the 19 countries are Austria, Belgium, Cyprus, Estonia, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Ireland, Italy, Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Malta, Netherlands, Portugal, Slovakia, Slovenia, and Spain. These 19 members are uses only euro as its single currency. In 2002, Treaty of Paris in 1951 expired, and European Union ceased to exist. That council and its activities fully absorbed by the European community. And Euro crisis, recently, the European Union and the European Central Bank have struggled with high sovereign debt and collapsing growth of Portugal, Ireland, Greece, Spain since the global financial market collapses of 2008. So multiple rounds of interest rate cuts and economic stimulus failed to resolve the problem. So in 2012, this European Union received Nobel Peace Prize for having contributed to the advancement of peace and reconciliation, democracy, and human rights in Europe. And Brexit in 2016, a referendum was held by UK government, United Kingdom government, and the nation voted to leave the European Union. Now the process under the United Kingdom Parliament for formal withdrawal from European Union. UK means Britain. So if you see the European Union's governance structure, it has several organs to perform its actions. So one is European Council. European Council is a collective body that defines the European Union's overall political direction and priorities. And also it comprises of the heads of the state government of European Union member states, along with the president of European Union Council and the president of the European Commission. So the High Representative of the Union and Foreign Affairs and Security Policy also takes part in its meetings, and also it's established an informal summit in 1975. The European Union Council was formalized as an institution in 2009 upon the entry into force of the Treaty of Lisbon. So the decisions of its summits are adapted by consensus. So European Parliament is there. It is only parliamentary institution for European Union that is directly elected by European Union citizens aged 18 years and older. Together with the Council of the European Union, also known as the Council, it exercises the legislative function of the European Union. So, this European Union Parliament does not possess as much legislative power as its member countries. So, and the Council of the European Union also there. It is a part of the essentially bicameral European Union legislature, the other legislative body being the European Parliament, and represents the executive governments of the European Union member states. In the Council, government ministers from each European Union country meet to discuss, amend, and adopt laws and coordinate policies. So, in this European Union, the ministers have the authority to commit their governments to the actions agreed on in the meetings of this council. So, European Commission is one of the an executive body of European Union. It is responsible for proposing legislation, implementing decisions, upholding the European Union treaties, and managing the day-to-day businesses of the European Union. So the Commission operates as a cabinet government with 27 members of the Commission. There is one member from one member state. So these members are proposed by member countries and European Parliament gives final approval on them. So one of the 27 members is the Commission's president, proposed by the European Council and elected by the European Parliament. So European Court of Auditors also one of the its organ. So it investigates the proper management of finances within the both the European Union entities and European Union funding provided to its member states. So the Court of Justice of the European Union also there. It interprets European Union law to make sure it is applied in the same way as all European Union members countries and settles legal disputes between national governments within the European Union institutions. It can also be approached by individuals, companies, or organizations to take action against an European Union institution. So, so European Central Bank also there. It is the central bank for the euro and administers monetary policy within the eurozone, which comprises 19 member states of the European Union. So it sets the interest rates at which it lends to commercial banks into the eurozone. So it ensures the safety and soundness of the European banking system also. So if we see the functions and powers of this European Union, European Union's law and regulation is meant to create cohesive economic entity of its member nations so that goods can flow freely across the borders. So there is no taxes or tariffs of member nations. So without tariffs, with the ease of one currency and the creation of one enlarged labor pool, which creates a more efficient distribution and use of labor. So there is no restrictions over these goods transportation. So that's what it's made a free transportation of these imports and exports within the member nations. And also, there is a pooling of financial resources so that member nations can be bailed out or lent money for investment. And also, unions' expectations in areas such as human rights and environment have political implication for member countries. Union can a exact a heavy political cost such as severe cutbacks and a budget and its members as a condition of giving aid. This is a one of great experiment really in cooperation amongst nations who wish to economically unified, ceding a little political and national power as possible. So if you see in case of trade, free trade among its members, we have to remember that every regional organization they are providing free trade between the member nations. So it's a common factor behind these functions of every regional organization. So for European Union also, each trade among each trade policy or free trade policy, its members was one of European Union's founding principle. So this is possible thanks to the single market. Beyond its borders, the European Union is also committed a liberalizing world trade. So this European Union is the largest trade bloc in the world. It is the world's biggest exporter of manufactured goods and services and the biggest import market over 100 countries. And also, this European Union is committed to helping victims of man-made or natural disasters worldwide and supports over 120 million people each year. So, this European Union and its constant countries is the world's leading donor of humanitarian aid. For diplomacy and security, the European Union plays an important role in diplomacy and works to foster stability, security, and prosperity, democracy, fundamental freedoms, and the rule of law at international level. So, if we see what are the challenges associated with European Union and what reforms can be brought? So it is no longer self-evident that all old member states will stay in the Union. The Treaty of Lisbon gave the members to the right to leave from this European Union. So the financial crisis has hit Greece so hard that many people have predicted for a long time that the country will exit from the union. So there is also demand for standard labor agreements on terms of employment and working conditions that would apply across Europe and even worldwide. And the European Union is a global leader in the development of key enabling technologies. And Europe is experiencing realignment of national sovereignty supported by a nationalistic turn of public opinion. And USA, by withdrawing from the Paris climate change deal, by pulling out of the joint comprehensive plan of action on Iran's nuclear program, and by attacking the integrity of the international trading system. So, European leaders now fear that the translating security guarantee and will center not an alliance and uh, withdrawal from the European Union is governed by Article 50 of the Treaty of European Union. So a deal between United Kingdom and European Union that gives it control over immigration and also preferential access to European Union's tariff free. And if you see the relations between the India and European Union. So the European Union works closely with India to promote peace, create jobs, boost economic growth, and enhance sustainable development across the country. As India graduated from low to medium income country, the European Union India cooperation also evolved from a traditional financial assistance type towards a partnership with a focus on common priorities. At the 2017 European Union India Summit, leaders reiterated their intention to strengthen cooperation on the implementation of the 2030 agenda for sustainable development. So, and the European Union was India's largest trading partner in goods 2019-20, ahead of China and the US, with total trade close to 90 billion US dollars. And recently, India and European Union concluded the first round of negotiations for India European Union trade and investment agreements in New Delhi. So, with the signing of these bilateral trade and investment agreement, expect to promote bilateral trade by removing barriers